Hey, John here. So we got a 1980 Vet here, this C3 Vet model. Today we're going to do the mounts, the body mounts. So a couple of questions. Do you have to lift the body off? I don't know if we have to lift the body off completely. I'm pretty sure we got to lift the body up though. So that's going to require taking this this bottom trim off, a couple of screws, and this louver. To get some access, we're going to have to take the wheels off. So let's get to that. Now the body mounts are here. There's one here, one about here, and one here. This one in the back is like a ham and cheese sandwich. It's right there exposed. You wouldn't even have to lift the body off of that. But some of them, like this one, are inside a trap door here, and you can only access the top from the top through the door, and the bottom. That's probably why we're going to have to lift the body up a little bit. Again, don't know. I've done this before, but it's been so long that I'm not even sure. So let's get the wheels off and the trim off and see what we got. Okay, some of the tools you may need, because if you've never taken rocker arms out of the trim here, they're just Phillips screwdrivers, at least on this car. They're probably going to be, they're little screws. They're probably rusted in place, going to break off immediately, but I'm just going to use a manual impact. Just give them a tap, see if they'll break loose. Otherwise, be prepared to probably, drill, cut some screws off. Alright, so we got, I was just looking at all the mounts. 8 out of 8, gonzo. So this car is 45 years old, but the mounts aren't 45 years old. They're only 20 years old. I remember doing that like 20 years ago. So I expected them to be, not 8 out of 8 though. 8 out of 8 shot. I'll take up closer in a second. So basically what we got is these are like the OGs. Right, and that's all we're dealing with, whether they go this way or that way, because some are, I'll show you in a second, but, and then they get a bolt that goes through them, and of course your flange or part of the frame is here in between, right? So none of this, I'll show you, none of these survived. This body mount here, when that finally went, then because you're sitting right over it, you felt it like your transmission was falling out, so I knew there's something up. I didn't know it was body mounts, but the other ones that who knows how long they've been deteriorated or gone, but a noticeable difference when the one you're sitting on, every time you hit a bump, you were feeling it big time. But anyways, so the top piece you can't see underneath that rusty bolt is just part of the car, but the top bushing is completely gone, and you can see a little bit of remnants of the bottom body mount. So that bolt is loosey-goosey. I went around the whole vehicle. Everything's loosey-goosey. All right, so and the back ones here I've already taken out. So we can get to those, right? Jacking the car up just a little bit, no problem. But they're not all like that. The ones that we're going to have a problem with is inside this access door, so we can only access the top piece, right? So as you can see, we have to lift this body up a considerable amount to get, something under, because the back piece of this, you'll see when I open the door, is underneath this fiberglass. So, all right, so I'm just going around and taking the body mounts out and whatever's left in there. I'd have to get a light, but you can see in there. So I'm taking everything out, the bolts rather. I think what I'm going to try, instead of using the sling there, I think I'm going to try, you can see we got enough room with just a bottle jack under, because you don't want to lift on anything fiberglass. This is all steel here, so I think we're going to be able to, watch this, just checking it out. Here's a light. You can see that we're coming up, and I think this will work. So let me get all these bolts out, and then we'll see if we can do all this just with a bottle jack, raising one mount at a time. So we got this mount here, and right behind it, right about where that bottle jack is. It's easy to see over there. You see, you take out your speaker grill, right? The whole mechanism. Where is it? Over here. Take out that whole thing, and you're gonna have access to where we at here? To the body mount there, and I think if we raise it up enough, I think we're going to be good is what I'm getting. I mean, does this look like something that's yours? Well, you don't want it now? No? No good? You don't want it now? Okay. I'm glad you didn't chew it. Okay, buddy? Alright, so we got all the mounts out, and wow, just a shit show. But it kind of explains, you know, what these, I don't know if that's coming on camera, I'm gonna put a light on there. What these crop circles are all about, and I got some marks down there from, you know, hitting, just barely hitting, barely rubbing the paint there, but didn't put two and two together until, until now. The body collapsed by, you know, whatever it was, you know, inch over time. I'm sure this didn't happen. So, anyways, point I'm making, what's the point? That most of the stuff made it in terms of, except for this in here. This didn't really make it, and I'm gonna have to do something to remedy that. Got a lot of nastiness going on, and I'll vacuum that up, but I don't know if we can make that out. So the body mount has, we're going to have to lift this car up a little bit, the body, and a body mount has to go under, but I'm pretty sure that hole is bigger than it needs to be. So I'm going to put a piece of stainless, I'll cut out a square rectangle piece of stainless for the top and the bottom. It's not going to stop the thing from rusting, but it will definitely support it, because otherwise this needs to be redone, and to redo this, the body's got to come off the car. You can't do this on a car. Alright, so we got these pieces made. So this is a pretty thick stainless, and this will go, well, this one, a little skinnier, will go into the cavity where it's all rusted, right? And then we can, this will be underneath. So what's going to happen is this will be representing the bottom of the cabin floor, you know, like not the frame. This actually sits on top of the frame. This sits on the where the mount is, and then we're going to put this one through like this, right? So that's going to represent the floor of the cab, of the, you know, the body, and then this will be upstairs in that cavity where it's all rusted and rotted, and this will extend into better metal. And then when we lower the cab down, it's going to be, you know, this is how it gets tightened. So and there's no reason to bolt these, because I need them to find each other, you know. And then when we bolt everything together, there'll be that little thin piece of rust, you know, in the cavity there that's going to be sandwiched in between there. So that'll work. So like I said, we'll drop this piece in this rusted cavity, and then if you look in there, we can see the bottom, the blue frame there. We're going to have to try to slip that in there, and the other piece will sandwich, you know, it'll represent the bottom of the floor, and this will sit on the frame. And once we put the bolt through, it'll sandwich it together and have a good piece of metal there. That's what I was getting at. Alright, so I've got this side jacked up. I can probably go further, but I think this is going to be enough. So this is the mount we're going to try to work on. That's in the speaker grill there, or the speaker location. And you probably can't see up there, but this hopefully, that's a mount there. So that was all the way down sitting on this. So I think we got enough room to put our, let's see if I got it. There we go. I think we can slide this booger. So, you know, it's got to go like this. It's hard to do this one-handed. Yeah, so I think, there we go. We'll get it up on a frame past this mount here. Oh yeah. And now we can slide it along the frame, and you could just make out the hole, the mounting hole right about where my finger is. So we'll slide it back there, and you can see it's got to go up on that, I don't know if you can see or not. It goes up on the mounting flange, you know, this thing. So we can slide it on a frame, and then we got to get a couple screwdrivers probably on each side of the frame and lift it up onto that and position it, and I think we're golden. And like I said, these are the worst too, so if we can get these done, this is obviously no problem here. Alright, so it's just a little game of operation. We got it. I just wanted to point out that this, so number one that goes here, it goes, so this half. See how there's two halves, right? This half on number 1 goes like this, right? It sits above. I'll show you in a second. It sits above on the flange, and then this gets bolted to the bottom of the flange, and the bolt sent through with a nut, right? This one, the one we're working on, I actually got that one in place, goes this way. We had to put it up on the frame. Of course, I had that piece of metal there, and so it's sitting there, and on the inside where the speaker is, this cup goes over like that, and of course there'll be a piece of stainless on you know, you'll see, and then you bolt it like that. Same thing with the number, we'll call that 1, 2, and then number 3 behind the wheel well. Same thing. It's going to go like this, right? And then through the door in the back here, we'll cup it, right? And then the last one gets flipped over on the end there. But that's a no-brainer. That's easy to get to. So the next challenging one is this one, but that's how they go. Like this, like this, like this, like this, right? So that's number 1, and the cup goes on there, bolt goes through. Number 2, we got her up in there. I don't know if you can see that. It's sitting, you know, with our metal flange there. We got to drop this car down. I got to make sure everything's aligned, and that's there. That's a better shot there. Maybe, I don't know if you can see that or not. But anyways, that's what we're talking about. So there was just enough room to, like I say, do a little game of operation. When I had 2 picks, because it could grab the rubber a little bit. We got it up on that flange, and now we just got to center it, send the bolt through, put our cups on. Alright, so the very rear one we can get to, obviously, no problem. Access galore. Right, this one is with the access door. Unfortunately, because we can, this is as high as the body will go without taking the bumper cover off, which is 1,000,000 bolts, and they're going to all break, and you're going to lose your mind. So I'm not taking the bumper cover off just to get this extra inch. What I'm going to do is, this is all fiberglass. Behind, you know, where the mounting is, inside is all metal. Behind this, it goes down a little bit, but I'm going to cut this at an angle right there. It's already kind of chewed up, but this, when you lower this, it just kind of, little lip goes over the frame, but not important in terms of you know, keeping mud out or whatever. This is not that kind of vehicle, but so I'm just going to nip it right here, and that way we can slide our, because it's right there, it's right behind here. We need to get right behind here, but there's no way to sneak it in here. It's just too fat. So nipping this off at an angle here, I think we'll, I mean, you can see it. It's right there. So, and there's plenty of room in there once we get it by this, so that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so this is working out good. I'm almost done. I got a couple more in the rear here. But, so this fits in, right, and goes like this. When we draw this down, this one doesn't bulge as much, but this one will bulge to a, you know, look like a tire. It'll squish down, everything will bulge. So to help with, because this one fits into the larger hole. Remember that flange we made? You know, that was the idea of the larger hole. So, and everyone has the larger hole, whether it's upside down or inside it, whatever the case is, this fits into. So you might be misaligned a little bit, right? So you gotta, you know, the casement bolt does have a little leeway to slide back and forth, but when you're tightening them up, to help with this getting in the hole, because like I said, it might be a little bit misaligned, I'm lubing these up with fluid film. Just going to town with the fluid film. Is going to do 2 things. A, it's going to find the hole, and when we tighten it down, it'll slip in there, right? And B, it'll lube all this stuff, because that fluid film is good stuff, and hopefully last, you know, again, these motor mounts were done body mounts were done 20 years ago in 2004, and they are like hard plastic, and they were rubber. so doing the lube and you know, crapping everything up with fluid film, it can't hurt. You know, again, 20 years from now, maybe they'll be brittle like plastic. I'll show you one in a second. Let me put these in, but they, like, if you step on them, they just crush. I mean, this is rubber, flexible rubber. You don't get it, but I don't understand how they turn to plastic, but it is what it is. Yeah, look, some old ones here. I mean, it looks like rubber, right? Listen, It's no longer rubber. These are just, oops, hard. I wouldn't even say dry rotted, but you know, they just fell apart. Look at that. That's crazy. No longer rubber, just like plastic. Anyways, lubing them up, I think, with fluid film is gonna definitely help. Again, 20 years from now, maybe I'll be going through the same thing. Hopefully not, but it is just, it feels like plastic. Looks like plastic, but I know they were rubber at one point. All right, so just an example what it looks like, you know, without being tightened. They're pretty puffy looking, right? Big square looking. And we're going to draw this right down and squish everything together. They're going to be like two little discs. So again, where it lines up in a hole, it'll slide in there if you lube everything up. So even that just squished it a little bit. And then we'll just wrench it from here, right? Because it's such a shallow turn there. If we got a better wrench, it won't take as long, but let me wrench that all the way down and I'll show you what it looks like. She's tight. So as you can see, everything's bulged. The bottom one not so much, but the top one definitely. I don't know if you can make that out, but you know, she's bulged pretty good. All right, so the kit comes with shims. Now, if you hadn't, you know, your car was original and it had the shims, you would just, you know, keep everything together. This car was done over 20-something years ago, so in terms of shims, who knows? So everything is just without shims, except for the two that I got to do at the very back behind the rear wheels. Those were shimmed. I know those were shimmed, and there's I'm just looking now, there's still a gap. Yeah, we're going to use some shims there, so just pointing out that if your car did have shims when you're taking it apart, just count them. You know, just keep them every mount with the shims. Anyways, let's continue. All right, we're done here. So I got all these, you know, mounted up, tightened up, squished up. It came out pretty good. The only thing we had to do, a couple of things, is that corner over there, that rusty bucket. We had to, you know, make them two little. I wouldn't call them shims, like the stainless that's going to sandwich in between there. I think I showed that. And then our little cutout deal here for the you know, to squeeze them in there. Otherwise, I don't know, you know, we couldn't lift the back end up enough. So at first I thought, well, maybe I'll make something out of whatever I made it out of, metal, rubber, to cover this axis, you know, the part that we cut off. Well, I'm actually going to leave it exposed, so this way I can, over time, just keep an eye on, see how those things are going, or maybe give it a squirt of fluid film, because when you put the wheel on, you can absolutely not see this, but it's like your choice. You know, it's just fiberglass. You could pop rivet something to it to you know, hide the hole or hide the look, but I'm okay with leaving it like this. All right, we're all set. So everything came out good. The body, the trims put back on, the louvers, everything. Just took it for a little ride. Everything's sweet, man. I mean, compared to when I was hitting bumps, you hear these, you know, you don't know what it is, and as time goes on, it gets a little worse. But like I said, as time goes on, you just don't notice it. What a complete cushiony ride. You don't hear nothing. Every time you hit a bump now, it's solid. You know, like just absorbing it. Before it was like a little you know, like just you knew in the back of your head there's something wrong. But anyways, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Yeah?